Hi, welcome to my video on solving a linear equation with one variable. Let's solve it by moving the variable and other numbers to different sides by the transposition method. Transpose means to move from one side to another in the equation. And we agree, or I am, that the left side will have the variables and the right side will have the numbers. If you always obey that and you move them, you know what you're doing. Variables on the left, numbers on the right, all the time. The numbers on the left side of the equal sign are transposed to the right. So that means if you have an x plus 1 equals 4, then you leave the x where it is and you transpose the plus 1 to the right side to make it a minus 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Check back. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Variables on the right side are transposed to the left side. And let's see, 4x equals x plus 6. So the x has to move to the left side. And when we do, the plus becomes a minus. So 3x equals 6. 4 and negative 1 is 3. Divide by 3, and I get x equals 2. So, if variables and or numbers are transposed, their signs are changed to the opposite. That is, if you're adding, you subtract. If you're subtracting, you add. Let's do some examples. Notice the x is okay. We leave it because it's already on the left. We have to move the negative 1 to the right side. So minus 1 becomes a plus 1. And that's a negative 4. And we divide by 4. And they cancel, I get x equals negative 1. Notice in B, the x is on the right, I have to move it to the left. Because there's a plus 2, I subtract 2. I do its opposite on the other side, same as adding on an opposite, only I don't show both sides. So 4x equals 8, and I divide by 4, x equals 2. Now I have both of them. I have an x on the right, that should go to the left. I have a number on the left that should go to the right. So negative 12x becomes plus 12x on the other side. And then plus 2 becomes a minus 2 on the other side. So the minus becomes a plus, the plus becomes a minus. If you add these up, you get 26x equals negative 26. And you divide by 26, you get x, they cancel, x equals negative 1. They cancel, and I get negative 1. Double negative, always change double negative to a positive. So minus 8 becomes a plus 8. Plus 7 becomes a minus 7. So the minus becomes a plus, the plus becomes a minus. Add these up, I get a 5x equals 20. Divide by 5. X equals 4. Okay, I have some done. Now if you wish, pause your video and work these out. Here we go. The x is okay because it's already on the left side, and I have to move the minus 4. So the minus 4 becomes a plus 4. So that's negative 10x equals negative 30. Divide by negative 10 on both sides, and they cancel. X equals, they cancel, and I get just a 3. And the x moves to the right, to the left side. So there's a minus, becomes a plus, and the number negative 40 is okay. I don't change it. That gives me an 8x, because that's a 1. 7 and 1 is 8. And I divide by 8 on both sides. X equals negative 5. Number 3, I'm moving both of them. So the plus 8 becomes a minus 8. The minus 1 becomes a plus 1. And add up the terms. 3x equals 21. Divide by 3. X equals 7. And again, we move the x's. So the minus 5 becomes a plus 5. And the plus 9 becomes a minus 9. So notice again, when you move the 5x, you can put it in front of the negative 3 or behind it. It's your choice. You're going to get a 2x equals negative 20. Negative 11, negative 9 is negative 20. And divide by 2, x equals negative 10. And again, I have to move the x's to the left side, numbers to the right side. Negative 10 got to move, so it becomes a plus 10. And double negative is make it a positive first, so that's a plus 9. So plus 9 becomes a minus 9. Add, and I get negative 2x equals negative 6. 3 subtract 9 is negative 6, and I divide both sides by negative 2. X equals 3. Okay, let's continue. Now what I wanted to do is, the previous videos of this one, I did it by adding on the opposite. And this video, I did it by what we call transposition. So let's do the two methods side by side, and you'll see and compare, and then it'll be your choice. I prefer the transposition because it's quicker to do. So let's do adding on the opposite method first. Notice the two of these are the same. So let's do both ways, this one both ways, then I'll do this one both ways. Adding on the opposite. So that's a 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So that gives me a 0. So that gives me 2x minus 2 equals negative 12. Now the 2 has to move over, so I have to add 2 to both sides. That gives me a 0, so 2x equals negative 10, and I divide by 2. So x equals negative 5. So that's adding on the opposite to both sides. But if you do transposition, the plus 4 becomes a minus 4, x. And the minus 2 becomes a plus 2. And you get 2x equals negative 12, and you divide, negative 10. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10, divide by 2, and I get x equals negative 5. The transposition method is faster. Notice you don't have to write down so much. So if you're doing a test or manipulation at any time, homework, the transposition method is faster. Why do you do the adding on the opposite is to explain the transposition method. But it's your choice. You can do either or. And let's do the second one. That's a double negative is a positive first. So I'm going to move the x by adding on the opposite. So it's a plus x. The x has to move, so that's a minus, so I'll add x. That's a 0, 18. That gives me negative 6x plus 6 when I add it up. Now the 6 has to move. Plus 6, I'll subtract 6. They give me 0, so negative 6x equals 12. Now I divide by negative 6, and that cancels. I get x equals negative 2. Transposition method, you still add on the opposite. Double negative is a positive. But the minus x becomes a plus x. And the plus 6 becomes a minus 6. So that gives me 6x equals 12 divided by negative 6. I prefer the transposition method. I've always taught the transposition. Even though I've done the adding on the opposite to explain this, when I'm finished and I know what I'm doing, I'll do the transposition method because x's go, to me, the variable that I want goes on the left, the numbers on the right, and I'll do it all the time. I'll be consistent in all my teaching. Consistency is it. So that's the end of that one. That's doing the transposition method. If you like my video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, then you can subscribe to my channel, and you can click the notification bell because there's more videos coming. Write a comment on my video if you wish, and visit my math website, mathfullyexplained.com, and there you get information on 3 different sections. First one is on me, my degrees and teaching experience. Second one is on the video, that the strategies that I will use in teaching the math to help you learn it. And the most important one is a section on content, which has the topics and the number of videos that are online. And in black font is online right now. on my YouTube channel, and the red font is the topics that will be coming there in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.